Welcome to What It Takes Making Marriages Last with Ernest and Jacinta Cooper. Thank you for joining the trial run of our first video broadcasting. So basically, Ernest and I are testing out our audio visual equipment. And so this is a little pre-recording that we did after the main recording because Ernest is not on the video. So now we're testing it just to make sure that when he speaks, that he shows up on the recording because we had him muted because we were sitting right next to each other. So he went to another room. And we hope this works this time. And also, later on in the video, you're going to hear us talk about my mother and the door squeaking, but you actually don't hear it on the video, but we heard it very loudly when it was recording. So we thought that you guys would hear it too. So there's that. All right.
And my sound works.
To show you
and when you listen to the rest of the video, you'll know. Trust.
And we wanted you to see our matching shirts. Well, because we like to be matchy. They do match. They go together. But anyway, everybody knows we like to be matchy. So we thought we coordinated. So we thought we'd wear our little cute little t-shirts on our trial recording. All right, enjoy the video. And please like and subscribe. Thank you so much. Right. So if you're watching this from YouTube, like and subscribe our What It Takes channel. And if you're watching this from Facebook, please like the post and share the post so that others may see it and like it as well. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Good evening.
Good evening.
And welcome to What It Takes with Ernest and Jacinta Cooper. Tonight, we'd like to welcome the Coopers, which is us, because we're doing a trial run. So we'd like to start off this segment with asking our guests, how did they meet and how long they've been married before we jump into what it takes to get them to this point in marriage. So, Mr. and Mrs. Cooper. Yes.
Yes.
How did you guys meet?
You first.
Okay. Well, we met on Tinder. Yes.
We met. We had a lot of conversations on Tinder. Not conversations, but texting back and forth. And then we finally decided to meet.
Well, you're skipping a lot.
What did I skip?
First, on our first conversation, I'm sure of it, we discovered.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
So we're both from DC.
Yes.
And we, people from DC are always like, where you from? Like, because that's a big thing when we were growing up, like Northwest. DC has 4 quadrants: Northwest, Northeast, Southwest, Southeast. And so even in go-go music, they're like, where y'all from? And like, so it's like, that's just something that DC people normally ask, probably Black people too. Like, same thing happened when I went to college. I went to Hampton, Jacinta went to NCCU. But staying on topic, one of the things we asked was like, where you from? And she was like, I'm from DC. I was like, I'm from DC. I kind of knew that because I was on her profile. But then, but people say I'm from DC and they're not really from DC. They might be from Maryland,
Silver Spring,
they might be from Virginia,
County.
Yeah, so
right.
But she was actually
really
from DC, and she was all over from from all parts, so all 4 quadrants.
Literally lived in every quadrant growing up.
Whereas I only lived in Northwest, and then I later got a place in Northeast, and that was it.
Yes.
So that was that was a whole conversation. But then it was also, so what high school did you go to?
Where'd you go to high school?
Yeah. So we both went to Wilson.
We like, what? Where'd you go to junior high school?
Went to Deal.
Alice Deal.
And so, being from the same place, from the same high school, from the same junior high school, there's a lot of connections that brings up a whole lot of conversation when you're on these, social media. And so, that whole social media thing, a lot of times the conversations can be awkward, but it was never awkward. It was like right from the jump, it was just like, it was flowing. So it was just always easy to talk. It was always easy, questions would come up. We would just, and then, questions will bring more questions. So it was just always easy for me. So
Yep, same. It always felt like home from the beginning
mhm,
because we had that foundation of both being from DC, both
mhm,
going to the same high school, both going to the same junior high school. And I'm 6 years older, so
mhm.
we weren't there at the same time. But
But
he
she
actually,
skipped. She skipped. She skipped the grade.
wait.
That's a whole nother subject.
We're gonna come back to that. Wait.
She skipped the grade. That's what I mean when I say she skipped. She skipped the grade
We'll come back to the skip part. But anyway, so he was there, my middle sister, in his,
on the track team.
oh yeah, they were both on the track and field team. So that was another connection. And I'm sure we were probably in some of the same places at the same time at some point, either in DC or in Atlanta. But you know, we weren't destined to meet yet. But all that to say, it always felt like home. And it's just been so easy. And we were like instant friends. Love to hang out. We've always had a great time.
Mhm.
Yeah.
No pressure.
Yeah.
You know, dating is a lot of times it's pressure. Uh, I'm not going to speak on women's behalf, but on men, you know, they're like, you know, as far as like how much money you spend, what type of place you're going to go to, you know, just a lot of things that in the long range, for a healthy relationship, or you know, is not really that important. But you know, those are things that are really important to women, in my opinion, early on in dating, or at least some women, not all of them, but some women. That can make or break the relationship. So that just wasn't the case here. It just really was more about engaging conversation. You know, what's important to you. You know, what are your goals? What are your passions? Those were the kind of conversations we had. So that's why for me it's easy because you know I have a lot of things I think about and daydream about, but you know it was easy to talk to her about them. So that's my thoughts on it. So.
Yep. And then we casually dated. We met in October of 2018, and we casually dated until the pandemic hit, and we were in each other's bubble. And during that time, you couldn't go anywhere, you couldn't do anything, so you had to be around other people, you know, that you knew were safe, you weren't going to get COVID from. So we just would have house dates. We would have charcuterie and wine, and we would never turn
And
on
3,000 questions.
Right. We would never turn on the television because I had a book that I had gotten from Target, and I was using this book as I was dating, and I would pull out the book. Whoever I was dating, I would pull a book out and start asking questions. I was like, oh, I have a book. Let's ask some questions. And it was very telling for me using this book, whether someone wanted to engage in a question, you know, in the conversation, or, you know, in questions, or they didn't, or how many questions they would answer. And Ernest never had an issue answering the questions. And by the way, we went off on a million zillion tangents. We would say, pick a number, because, you know, questions 1 through 3,000, right? The book was called
3,000 questions about me.
Right? 3,000 questions about me. I wish I had it with me so I could show it, but Google it, because you can get it on Amazon. We got it from Target. I got it from Target. But anyway. And so we would say, pick a number. So one of us will pick a number, take turns, the other one will pick a number. And we may get through 2 or 3 questions because we would go off on tangents when we were asking and answering the questions. So
my thoughts about the thing about asking questions is it only takes about 2 or 3 questions if you start deep diving. That you can tell, you know, what level and what layer a person is on about any particular topic. And so, you know, the thing is like on any given night, we might only go through 10 questions because each of those questions, we would go off on tangents and start asking more questions. And like, you can tell if you ask a person a question and they're just throwing something at you like surface level. Because when you start asking more questions, like follow-up questions, because you're genuinely curious, they can either show you how much they're into it, or they'll reveal how much they're not into it and how much they're really just saying something just to, you know, answer a question. And what I admired is Jacinta was layered, and there were levels. And, you know, there's levels to answer questions because, you know, you have to be really engaged into something and study something and be thoughtful about something. So that I really enjoyed that. And that was why I knew, I dated a lot with the dating apps, and drink, and that's fun. But then if you want a little bit more than that, that's when conversations are important. And it was the conversations always just to levels. I mean, it was, for me, I was learning. Which is important to me, not just learning about Jacinta, but maybe learning about a topic. And so that's always been, well, that was important to me, and it still is. And so that's my thoughts.
Yeah, for me, I also dated a lot on, I can tell you just about every single dating app out there. And for me, what was key for Ernest and my dating was consistency and transparency. Like I think a lot of times people don't want to be honest when they're dating because they're afraid of the reaction they would get to the honesty. But I think with both of us, we were very honest and open in the dating process. And it didn't harm us in any way, being honest. So that was it. But it was more the consistency. It was just so hard to get something to stick. I was like, I'm never going to get married because there are no consistent men out there. You may go on 1 or 2 or 3 dates and it seems like, oh, it's going so well. And then nothing, crickets, So I'll say the consistency, with us. And we always have fun. So, yep. So we got married last year. So
July.
Right. The pandemic was 2020, 2021. We more seriously dated, and we were really dating exclusive during the pandemic, but we really solidified things in 2021 and then got engaged in 2022, got married in 2023. So we just celebrated a year in July, and it's going very well.
Yeah, that whole process from the 2021 when we started being more exclusive. Jacinta spelled it out in years, but I kind of look at it in quarters, and whether it's the fall season, winter season, spring season, whatever. But we progress. It wasn't. I didn't feel rushed. I didn't feel pressured. It was just like, okay, we've been talking for 90 days now, or we've been talking for 180 days now, or we've been talking for, so multiples of 90. But, the thing is, I just remember just feeling like I'm feeling close to her. And then after a while, I didn't want to date anyone else. So, because the thing is like, who do you consistently want to be around? And who do you, sometimes some people would do things, get on your nerves and all of that. But whatever differences I had, we just talked. I mean, we just talked through things. And it was just a companionship that I enjoyed. It was something to look forward to, and it was peaceful.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Peaceful is huge for me. I mean, I've been married before, and that was anything but that. So finding this is something that I really look forward to having. I had longed for, and so this was great for me.
So yeah, you bring up a good point. I took a new approach to dating. So a lot of times we as ladies tend to jump the gun when we're dating. We put a lot of pressure on the man when we're dating. And I took a new approach, and it started with really one of my girlfriends saying that someone on her job, an older gentleman, Jamaican gentleman, gave her some tips on how to date. And basically, and I wish I had those with me, wasn't prepared, but basically like have no expectations, be easy breezy, be friends first, and no early commitments. And we like to do that. Oh, we committed. And the man is not thinking about commitment, but in our mind, because we think we're exclusive. Listen, if you haven't had the exclusivity conversation, you are not exclusive. Believe me on that, okay? So, but those were it's true story, as my sister would say. But those are the more you know. This inside joke. But those are the things. So, easy breezy, no expectations, no early commitments, friends first. And that was my approach to dating. So I was really dating like a dude, really, and I just, everything would be like, okay, I was just easy. I mean, as easy as I could be, I was easy. And even if something bothered me, I would never articulate it. And I don't mean like I wasn't a doormat, but the things that I could never be a doormat. But the things that you typically would do when you're dating and bring up to the guy, I did not, like,
So give an example.
Be like, I haven't heard from him in a few days. Okay, whatever.
That's a pressure.
Yeah.
Like that. So that's a no-no in my opinion when you're dating.
Right. You're not exclusive. You're just dating.
Courting.
Right. You're not courting.
Not engaged.
Right.
You're dating.
Right.
If you're dating,
right.
then it should be no pressure.
Right.
I mean, to me, the last thing I needed was pressure.
Right. So
with someone that I barely know. Right. You know what I mean? So, if we're just, we've gone out once or twice, or times we had some good times. I understand checking in on someone, but don't put the pressure like, well, why didn't you call me? Or I was expecting you to do this. And, I was at the time, I'm divorced, 3 kids, trying to get them through school, trying to get them, I have a lot of work and all of that. So without going too much into my personal. But I had enough. So the last thing I needed was someone saying, well, why didn't you call me? You said you were going to do this. During the dating phase, I think one of the things is you gotta, that's why I talk about the 90-day intervals with dating. When I said Jacinta talked about a year, I talk about the 90-day intervals. Mm-hmm. With each 90 days, as things progress, I was like, okay, I'm willing to put more into the relationship. I'm willing to be more accountable for certain things. I'm willing to be more available for certain things, but it's a timing of it. And, there could be 90-day periods where there was no movement as far as like advancing the relationship. And that's okay in dating, in my opinion. To me, it worked for us.
Right. But it's funny because in my approach to just kind of being easy breezy, he would always bring up stuff. So he'd be like, yeah, I want to do 90-day assessments. And then I remember him one time saying, oh, let's see where we are in 90 days. I may be ready for an exclusive relationship. I'm like, okay. And then it wouldn't be 90 days yet. He's like, let's be exclusive. I'm like, okay. So everything was just like, okay. And no pressure at all, but very receptive. So you're not so detached where the person thinks you don't care. You can't not care, but it's just I want to stress just not putting pressure on the person. Then it came to, we were exclusively dating. And then he was like, I might want to consider getting married, eventually. I'm like, okay. Mm-hmm. And I didn't bring it up, and then even with ring shopping, he was like, maybe we should go ring shopping. I'm like, okay. I never suggested it. Let's go ring shopping. Let's get married, So I always allowed him to take the lead with the relationship. And I think that ladies would better service themselves if they did that in the relationship, as opposed to putting pressure. Because the one thing is, if someone wants to be with you, they're going to be with you. If they don't, you can't pressure them into it. So
yeah, like I've dated where I've been told I'm not getting any younger, my biological clock. And first of all, like I said, I have 3 kids. So tell me about your biological clock. That's not a turn on. It's not going to incentivize me to make a decision to hurry up. It's going to do the opposite, or it did the opposite actually. But so the thing is to me again, putting pressure on a man in a relationship, and fellas the same thing. Like I'm not telling her this is what we're doing. I'm having a conversation with her about where I'm at, and and trying to see how receptive she is to as far as what I'm talking about. Whatever the topic is. So because the thing is like I don't want a relationship where you do what I tell you to do. I want a relationship where we're partners. I mean this like business partners. I mean not just intimacy, not just lovey-dovey stuff. But someone where I think someone who's intelligent, someone who is motivated and has energy, and someone who I trust. and trust is the most important by far. So and I felt all of those in spades with Jacinta. So and then I took my time and I met her family. I already knew one of her sisters, and then I got to know her other sister, met her mom, met her stepdad, rest in peace, Jimmy. But just met her family, met her friends, hung out, laughed, drank, whatever, just had a good time together. And, and again, these 90-day periods that after a while just started happening, the frequency that we were around each other and having conversation with each other, it just naturally happened. It just increased. And it wasn't hard. It just happened, like kind of like Jacinta said, it was easy breezy for me. So
yeah. Oh, so let me get back to the skipping. The skipping. So, so let's see. I was in first grade, and I got moved to a first grade, second grade class. And my mother is a retired teacher, so when I got moved to this first grade, second grade combo class, naturally, I did the second grade work. And so when it was time to promote me, they promoted me to third grade because I was already doing the second grade work. So I'm a year ahead of a year ahead of myself, but a year in age behind all my a lot of my
younger than your classmates.
Yeah, a lot of my classmates. But anyway, I like to, like when people are trying to figure out, oh, how old are you? And you're telling, when you graduated, and I say, well, I skipped.
No one ever can tell my true age.
I didn't say
that.
He's exaggerating. He's exaggerating. But I would say, oh, I skipped a grade. And so one day he's like, well, I skipped a grade too.
But she was saying, well, no one ever gets my age right because I skipped a grade. No. Like, but okay, I skipped too.
But I did.
And she's like, oh. And then she started busting out laughing.
Right, because I can't say anymore. Because I was trying to figure out, okay, we're 6 years different, but we are still.
But if she had done the math, she'd have been like, wait a minute.
It's still
you're in this grade.
Right.
At your age.
Right. But so like we graduate, not only are we 6 years apart, we graduated 6 years apart. So we still are, because he skipped a grade. But anyway.
I don't brag about it.
It's probably not right. It's probably not as funny to you guys, but it's because I had a little air about it. That's why he's getting off.
He did.
I skipped a grade, but I wasn't that have that.
It was like, I went to Harvard.
It was not that exaggerated. Anyway,
Hampton. I went to Hampton.
So anyway,
really cute.
All right, so let's dive into these 5 things that have gotten us a year and 2 months, almost 3 months into marriage.
Yes,
we're almost 15 months old
with
our marriage.
I'm talking about it like it's an infant.
And
15-month-old.
We're walking.
13 months, 14.
We're potty trained and we're walking. All right, so you submitted questions on our behalf, not questions. 5 things on our behalf. So your 5 things are communication, finance, integrity, humor, and friendship. So let's talk about each one of those. How has communication positively impacted our marriage and gotten us to this point that we've been successful for almost 15 months?
Well, I think I talked about that pretty much with the 3,000 questions about you talk to someone, you ask them questions, and depending on how much you want to know about it, you can ask them follow-up questions. And the communication was always just, there were layers to responses. So it's like, wait a minute, so is this? And I can't think of an example right now, but for example, here's an example. Like Jacinta, she has a background in it's theology, or
I have a second master's. There I go.
That's
just like saying I skipped. But anyway, do you all need to know I have 2 masters? But
yes. Yeah. So that. But again, the thing is, like, I can ask questions.
In marriage and family therapy, that's what it is.
But some people have a background in therapy and marriage and counseling and all that, but they can apply it to other people, but they can't apply it to themselves, and they can't even see it, or they can only, like, if they're talking to someone, they can apply it to the person they're talking to, but they can't apply it to themselves. I think I'm repeating myself, but at any rate, Jacinta was able to do that very well. A lot of the things that she learned, she could check herself, which was important to me, because, like, being able, guys, she can admit when she makes a mistake. She can admit when she's wrong. She can be accountable for her decisions. So that again is that's jewels. That's the good stuff right there. That's what's important for a relationship to work. You can't have one person, when they make a mistake, they'll acknowledge in the other person and they're just dismissive, I was like, that doesn't work. That doesn't work for me. It doesn't work. So
yeah, for me, with the communication, we have tools that facilitate our communication as well. We have a calendar, we put it on. Did you look at the calendar? Okay, it's on the calendar. We also have morning routines.
We have devotion and reflection. So devotions happen in the morning, reflections also happen in the morning. We did and we do games in the evening, but we have devotion, we have gratitude, we have intentions, we have reflections, and then we have other things like, your water intake
and your goals for the day. Well,
things that you want to get done for the day. I mean, that's in addition to it, intentions. But
right. So
those are things that we talk about every day, and we've been doing that now for almost as long as we've been married. We
got a devotional as a gift, and what was it called? Make your love last. Keeping your love on.
Keep something like that. Yeah. You think I keep sweating, make it. But
my soror Michelle gave it to us as a wedding gift, and so we got married on July 7th, and we started the devotional on August 1st. So we finished it on July 31st and started a new one.
And we're actually doing two.
Yeah, we're doing
do two devotionals every morning. Each one takes about 3 to 5 minutes to read, because you go through the devote. It has a
scripture at
the top. It has a passage in the middle. Then it has a few questions that it might ask you, and it might ask you even read something from the Bible. But it's just something we do. It's to me, it's like, don't tell me your goals. Tell me what your habits are. Because if I see your habits, I can kind of see the direction that you're going. And so it's like, I think we have very good habits. Like, like I said, we do a devotion every day, and then we do it most days. Some days we miss it, but if we miss it, we double up, and we don't like doubling up because getting behind is tough. It's tough.
But yeah, so in facilitating our communication, the reflections we write out, we share them. So we have a dialogue about that. We have a dialogue about our schedules, how we feel about our day, whatever it is, it comes out in the morning in our little morning routine. So that's great. But I would add, I know we had communication, finance, integrity, humor, and friendship, but this is making me want to add the other C, which is connection, because we have those connection points that really help facilitate our being successful in the marriage. So again, the
being engaged.
The morning routines, the evening routines, like you said, we have 7 to 9 in each.
So in the morning it was 6:30 to 8:30. Because I start, we both start work around 9. We both go to the gym before. So usually I'm at the gym from like 5 to 6:20, and the gym is about 10 minutes away, or really it's about 6 minutes away. Because I can leave at 6:24 and still get here on time, but not on time because that I need to get out of my gym shirt and all that. So that'll put me at the table around 6:35. So I try to leave at 6:20. Gets me home around 6:25, 6:26, throw off my wet clothes, and then I'm at the table by 6:30. That's the goal each day. So for each morning, that's the habit that I have, or that's the routine I have every morning, Monday through Friday. Saturday and Sunday, there's a little bit of grace as far as that time. You don't have to, I'm not getting up at 5 o'clock.
Yeah,
on
we are, and
Saturday
we
or
also
something.
don't do our evening routines on the weekend because we figure we're doing
That's
other
grace.
things.
Yeah,
Well,
it's
not even grace. We figure we're doing other things to keep us connected. So even if we don't have any plans, we're usually watching
yeah,
TV or something, a
do
movie
something.
or sleeping, napping. But anyway,
Yeah.
so connection is important. And the next one is finances.
Yeah, and a lot of people talk about how finance or money is the number one reason, you know, people get divorced, but it's not money. It's the communication about money. And so, you know,
Back
you
to
got
the
to be on the
C.
same page. So the thing is, again, that goes back to communicating. So, you know, having lots of conversations about, you know, what our goals are financially, what does retirement look like, you know, and when do we stop working, and like, you know, how much money is going to be saved, and you know, are the mortgages paid off? You know, is the truck paid off? Those kind of questions. I mean, and just having conversations, just not telling her this is better, or her not telling me this is what we should do, but just trying to understand what the other person wants.
Right.
Because,
Just
like,
being on the same page. And
yeah, but I mean, to know what a person wants, and then, like, you know, because I'm like, okay, some of the wants that she has, I'm like, you know what, I think that's a higher level of what I want. I want that too. So that was mom.
Okay.
So that's it for finance.
Okay. And then integrity is the next one.
Yeah. So integrity, and integrity is like, to me, it's it's having certain things or certain rules or certain guidelines or something in place, and then agreeing to them and sticking with them. And so, like, you know, the thing is like, I know, like, you know, we have our vows, and then we have conversations about things that are important to us. And like, if I tell you I'm going to do something, or if you tell me you're going to do something, then I believe you. I mean, I believe you. So the thing is and Jacinta hasn't let me down. She has not let me down in the integrity, and I believe her, and I believe, and so to me, that's the most important thing in any kind of relationship. You know, I mentioned, you know, business partner. You, you know, someone made the quote that you know, the three things that you want in a business partner: someone who has intelligence, someone who has energy, and then someone who has integrity. And if they don't have integrity, it's better that they're dumb and lazy, because they're screwed. And so that applies to marriage. I mean, that every part of that applies to marriage. It applies to friendships. I mean, however, if you let someone get really close to you, you know, you're going to let them know things about you, and you got to trust that they're going to keep, you know, what, if you tell them things in confidence, that they keep those things in confidence. I think I'm very extroverted in a lot of ways, but in a lot of ways I'm an introvert, and I keep to myself, and I don't share things with people. And I feel like Jacinta respects that, which is that is the most important thing to me in a relationship, is the integrity. So
Right. And to me, and tied with integrity is honesty. Just being honest in everything, in your actions, in your communication, in your responses, you know, that says a lot about your integrity, how honest you are. And then keeping your word, like you said, keeping your word is major. And if you can't keep your word, communicating, but that gets back to the C, you know, because that's part of integrity too, that if you really can't, if you think you're not going to come through on something that you promise, then have enough integrity.
Yeah, and it's not really that big of a deal. So, for example, if I can't, yesterday morning, normally, like I said, I'm back home by 6:30 a.m. To start our devotion routine. But I was like, I knew I wasn't going to make it by 6:30, so I was like, hey, before I left, I was like, it's 7, okay? And she was like, yeah, and that was it. Then I left, and I got home about 6:40 or 6:35. But the thing is Jacinta knows, I tell her, if I'm going to be home at this time, I'm home at that time. And so it's not just for the big things, it's for the very, very little things. Because if you can do it for the little things, it builds up where you can be trusted for the big things. So whatever the big thing may be. But the thing is constant communication and being honest about that communication. And, you know, sometimes the communication might be disappointing, like, hey, I'm not gonna make it back for this devotion this morning. I'm too tired, or whatever. And again, it's something we both look forward to. So sometimes you might disappoint them with the communication, but it's better to be honest than to lie, to say something where, you know, you think this is what they want to hear, because lying.
Right. Or not communicating. So,
Yeah.
the part of the integrity again is communicating that you can't keep up your end of the bargain, because that's going to hold more weight than not doing it and not communicating why you didn't do it. So, yeah.
All right. The next is humor.
Humor.
So, and a lot of the passages that we've been reading lately have been talking about the importance of laughing. I mean, just, like, when is the last time you had just a belly aching laugh with your spouse? And, I think the way our connection, well, I like doing dad jokes. I have, just joking around. That's important to me anyway. So I think, that's what, and actually the laughing thing was important to me because, I mean, to me, it feels good. I think just like I like running where it produces endorphins, I think laughing does the same too. So humor is important. I think it just, like everyone has problems and all of that. But if you can laugh at them, or if you can laugh at yourself and not take some things too seriously, I think it goes a long way for having good health. So.
Yeah, I agree. And I haven't laughed so much in my life since I've been with, before I was with Ern, is the most I've laughed with him than without him. So yeah, he's funny.
Laugh with, not at.
Yes. And that's the other thing. You can't laugh at someone's expense, but that's
Right.
not one of our items on the list. But
Yeah, we don't. So we both believe you don't joke about things that people can't help or that people are struggling with.
Yeah.
Like, joking about a person's weight, joking about a person's height, joking about, anything that a person might be sensitive about. The thing is why would a person want to be around you if all you do is make fun of them at their expense with something that they might be struggling with? So
I'm laughing because that's my
the
mother.
door squeaking. Yes, I hear it. So
my mother's door squeaking. My mother lives with us. So.
Yes.
And the last thing is friendship. So yeah, we started as friends and we're still friends. And to me, that is just so important to our relationship, is being friends first, because that's what's going to sustain you, not the eros love. It's the filio love that's going to sustain you especially through any hard times,
I mean, I like her.
Yeah.
I mean,
I like
her. Genuinely
like him. I love him.
I genuinely like her. Like I like being around her. I don't feel pressure to do something, to say something, to be something. I'm really finding me. And it's like, I haven't had that. So the thing is like, when you do have it, it's like, wow, I don't want to let this go. So.
Right. What were we saying? Was it last night? We were talking about getting married, why you married, or would you get married? I can't remember what we were saying about it, but my answer was about being married. I wouldn't have done it if I didn't like you, I didn't love you, and I couldn't live with you. Right. So I have all three of those things, because we could pretty much do anything together or nothing together. I mean, we have our separate interests, and with those we're good with. Like, he runs, I don't run. I'll walk up a mountain, I'll walk down a mountain, but I'm not running. And if I do a 5K, I might jog a little bit, but running is his thing. So we have our separate things, but we have a lot more things in common and joint than we don't have.
But I think it's important to have things that you don't do with your spouse.
Right.
Like she's the Delta, I have Black Men Run. And one of the things they talk about is brotherhood, unity, and health. And so, the thing is, like, I have a healthy brotherhood with guys I like to hang out with, and it's all about it's exercise. I mean, and exercise is really important to me, because I believe in not just, I want to have a long lifespan, but more important to me than a long lifespan is a long health span. So, I don't want to be 100 and be aching and not be coherent and not know what's going on around me, not being able to run, not being able to walk, or unassisted. So the thing is because that's a goal to me. Like I said, don't tell me your goals, tell me your habits. I'm trying to live the life that I can sustain to meet that goal. And so that means, lots of exercise. It means lots of rest. It means eating right. It means, certain habits I just don't do. I used to hang out, drink and party and all of that. But I got to look at what's a sustainable behavior to meet the goals that I have. And the sustainable, that behavior requires exercise, rest, and actually like marriage. I think men especially benefit from being in a healthy marriage. Well, let me speak. I don't want to speak for the masses. I'll speak for me. I benefit from being in a healthy monogamous relationship. So and I've seen the benefit in this 14, 15, whatever months. Um, where I've heard people that have been married 15, 20 plus years. Oh, just wait, it'll change and all of that. And I'm like, you keep that energy over there. Even if that is true, what you're saying, let me enjoy this now. So I'm very protective of my relationship with Jacinta. Like I don't want to hear negative energy, because I think, the thing is I create my future.
And words have power.
And words have power, and that's a whole nother subject.
That is another.
But and because words have power, we're very selective about how we talk to each other and the words that we say with each other, because we do recognize words have power. That tongue is a very powerful muscle. So you have to exercise it in a good way. So because you can exercise it in a bad way, and I think that's toxic. So.
All right. Well, that's the end of our 5 points. Thank you for hanging with the Coopers.
Yes.
For our first broadcast, but trial broadcast. But we're looking forward to bringing you more What It Takes interviews, things that make marriages last. Stay tuned.
Don't forget to like and subscribe.
Like and subscribe. Bye.
Peace.
Hello.
Hello.
And welcome to What It Takes, Making Marriages Last with Jacinta
and Ernest
Cooper. This is a little pre-recording to our recording. So this is a trial run for our first video, or of our first video. It's too many. I'm going to stop.
Redo.
Yeah. Cancel. Hello, and welcome to What It Takes, Making Marriages Last with
Ernest
and Jacinta Cooper. We will be doing, this is really our trial run for our first video that we'll be doing in a few days. So we wanted to make sure everything worked, do all
we're practicing.
Right, the testing of the audio visual. And so what you'll see is us interviewing ourselves, but we didn't have this view on, so you can't see Ernest. You can hear him, but you can't see him. So, and we also wanted you to see both of our shirts, that we don't wear matching shirts, but he doesn't.
I don't.
He doesn't, but I do. Yeah, so they match kind of, sort of. So enjoy the video, and we'll see you later. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Bye.